If you want to get the most out of your coding agent, you have to be thinking about context management, because it turns out that your LLM's context window is a scarce and valuable resource. Well, hang on though, why would I say that's scarce? Modern models have context limits in the hundreds of thousands of tokens. That's like 2 whole books worth of content. Surely that's plenty for a coding session with an agent, right? Actually, you'd be surprised. So even at the very start of the session, that window is already going to start to fill up. You've got the agent system prompt plus definitions for the internal tools that the agent brings along. You've got your rules files like your agents.md or claude.md or whatever you have in your code base. Plus, you've got the tool definitions for whatever custom tools you're bringing to the parties, your MCP servers that you've added to the agent. And then as you start working with the agent, that context window starts to fill with the conversation history. All of the past kind of the coding session, the past conversation has to go into that context window, because that's the only source of context for the LLM to do its work. And I've been calling this the conversation history, but the chat that you're having back and forth with the agent is actually not what takes up most of the space in that context window. It's the tool calls that your agent is making. So what makes agents powerful is the way they use tools. And every time your agent reads a file or searches in your code base, runs tests, runs a build, the results of those tool calls have to be added to the context window so that the LLM can use them. You can see that over a long running coding session, that context window is just going to grow and grow and grow. And you can imagine that eventually you're going to run out of tokens. But you're fine until you hit that limit, right? Nope, unfortunately not at all. Research has shown that LLM's overall performance starts to degrade way before you hit that context limit. There's this effect called context rot, context poisoning, where context from earlier in the coding session can actively kind of confuse or distract the agent. So that's why I say that context is a scarce and valuable resource, and actively managing that context really is key to succeeding with coding agents. I've written a lot more about context management and coding agents in general. You should check out my blog.